We all know that validity is important, right? Now, in experimental research, there are four types of validity. First, statistical conclusion validity is about making sure that we're using good statistics to find real effects between the two groups. So, for example, when testing the effects of inquiry based learning on third grade students in science class, your statistical conclusion validity might be threatened if your sample size is too small or if you use the wrong statistical test. Now, internal validity is making sure nothing else explains the results except the thing or intervention that you're taking. So, the relevant question might be, was it really my intervention that caused the change? So, going back to our inquiry model, inquiry based learning, is it really true that the inquiry based learning influenced mastery motivation of students, or is it something else? For example, the experience of teacher who used inquiry based learning, right? Now, and then next we have construct validity. Now, this is about if we were measuring what we say we're measuring. So, for example, if you want to measure students' mastery motivation as the results of inquiry based learning, are we really measuring mystery motivation? So it's about is the measurement that I'm using is valid tool to measure this? We talked about this in the previous lesson, right? Now, lastly, we have external validity. This one is going beyond our research and asking whether our results apply to other people, places, or situations. So this one asks question about can I apply my results outside this study? Now, quantitative research, especially experimental research, is about generalizing the results to groups and environments outside the experimental setting. So, external validity is about how well our findings can be generalized beyond our specific study. Now, in experimental research, several common threats to internal validity can make it hard to tell whether the treatment truly caused the outcome. Now, if you use pre and post test model, consider if these threats are relevant to your study. Think about how you can minimize them, or if you cannot, you may need to include them in your limitations section. Now, first we have history. Now, history occurs when something outside the study affects the results. So, for example, if a school policy change increases stress during a study on stress reduction program, then we have maturation. Now, this refers to natural changes over time, like children improving in reading just because they're getting older. We have testing. Now, testing effects happen when taking a pretest helps participants do better on the post-test, such as students scoring higher just because they have seen similar questions before. So, if you're thinking about using a pretest and post-test design, be aware that certain validity threats could impact your results. Instrumentation is when the measurement tool changes, like having one teacher grade pre-tests and another grade post-tests using different standards. Statistical regression happens when participants start with very high or very low scores and their scores move closer to average over time. So, for example, struggling students may improve even without the intervention. Now, differential selection of participants means that groups were not equal at the beginning, like assigning a new teaching method to advanced students and comparing them to a lower level class. And then finally, we have mortality or attrition is this is when participants drop out, such as when more students leave the treatment group than the control group, possibly skewing the results. So these threats to internal validity must be considered to ensure that study truly shows cause and effect.